Welcome to our Rolemaster Actual play session. Twilight of the Old Order is a campaign set in the world of Duranarki, the continent of men. In this gritty, cutthroat world, politics, religion, and commerce are all intertwined and reign supreme. Characters need to be both smart and ruthless to survive. We hope you enjoy our story, and, as always, may the dice roll in your favor. This is episode 139 of Twilight of the Old Order. Leaving their former companions and their adventures in the Katana Sea, the Twilight Party have travelled east to the Thraycian colony of North Messenia in search of news of their foes, the Committee for the New Age. We pick up the story just as the party, with their new companion Yotto, have arrived in the Thracian garrison town of Ras Garret. Hello, I'm Chris, otherwise known as GM Chance, and as the words say on screen, welcome to our story, and that story is Twilight of the Old Order. These are the 6 characters. We had a recent edition, well, we had an edition last week, so definitely a recent edition, of Yotto, who was our 6th character, bottom right, and we'll hear a bit more from him in a minute. Those are the 6 characters that will be delighting us with their antics, their escapades, and their general shenanigans this evening in our game. Before I hand over to the players of the game to introduce their characters a bit more, I usually take a moment or so, and I will just try to keep it to a moment, to thank our supporters, the various kind people online out in internet lands who provide support, ideas, suggestions, whatever it is that just has been really beneficial and kind in supporting this, which is our hobby, our little channel on the internet. So a very quick shout out to me to 3 new subscribers. Just recently, in the last few days, we've had Chris Capram, we've had Frankos Marquer, and lastly Filthy1. So a very warm welcome to all of those new subscribers, and indeed all of our viewers and our listeners to our story, and indeed to our channel. Thank you for the support. It really does help, and we do really appreciate it. As I say each time, if you're liking what you're hearing and you're enjoying what we're saying, a click down below, either a like or even better, a subscribe, would be hugely appreciated. It really does help the channel grow, and it helps other people like you find content like this. Thank you. So, I mentioned before that I'm going to hand over to the players to introduce their characters, and I thought I'd just pause for a second before I do that to explain a little bit about why we dwell in this campaign and in these games perhaps quite so much on characters. Role-playing games are about telling a story, and they're about everybody describing the narrative that's in their head and collectively coming up with a tale. And yes, there's a part of that which is about the combat and about potentially about combat or conflict or whatever it may be, and about the dice rolls. But a huge part of it, at least for me, and I think for our players, is actually about the characters and about these fictional characters that the people who play those characters have dreamt up and have kind of molded and shaped over time. So we spend quite a bit of time, precious time of our games, describing who those characters are. And in a second or two, we're going to go to a pre-recording, and I think it's Graham that kicks us off tonight. I hope so anyway. I got it wrong last time. Firstly, the players will provide a bit of an overview of the characters they're playing tonight. And then in the second, once the pre-recording finishes, each one of the players will then answer a character development question, which I send out a bit earlier in the week. So there we go. A little bit of kind of explanation of kind of why we spend so much, a lot, too much. I don't know. Be keen to hear your thoughts. Do we spend too much time going into who are the faces up on screen? I suspect players in this game would be keen to get your opinion. Right, enough from me. As mentioned, handing over to the players to describe their characters, and I'm 90% sure it's going to be Graham, so let's go with take it away, Graham.
Hello, I'm Graham, and I play Severin Kaidegard, who is a human swordsman, a dab hand at the sword, spent his whole life training in swordsmanship. He is a very charming fellow and fancies himself as a bit of a leader.
Hi, I'm Stara. I play Jada. She's a 6'7" Arab-looking woman. She fights with a quarterstaff, but not often because she's a healer. She grew up in a monastery where they adopted her, and she has just been taught how to heal, do martial arts. That's all she's done her entire life.
Hello, I'm Graham, and I'm playing Tanya Anastasia, who is an elven hunter. Dab hand with a bow. She has some outdoor skills, some very adept sneaky skills, and is an interesting personality, a little bit spiky, a little bit difficult to know, but inside, a good egg.
Kia ora everyone, my name's Anthony, and for this episode I'm playing Ascallion, or Ascal for short. He's a tall half-elf warrior mage who comes from the port city of Shabibi, and accordingly his favourite weapon is his ornate cutlass. As a warrior mage, Ascal combines his offensive and defensive spells along with his prowess with his cutlass and in unarmed combat.
Kia ora, my name's Pete, and I'll be playing Nicholas in this episode. Nicholas is a common man and a mentad by profession. That means he is a spell user, and he uses spells from the mentalism realm. Nicholas is a quiet and sort of unassuming sort of fellow. He doesn't like to draw attention to himself.
Hello, my name's Giles, and I play Yotto, a grey elf in the 2nd century of his life. Yotto is a warrior mage by profession, meaning he combines the warrior skills learned from his mother, a great samurai in the East, with Western magic. Although life has sometimes been challenging for him, he still believes both in the world and people, and therefore travels light, very light, as he makes his way in the world and on his adventures.
And there we go. So hopefully now all of those 6 characters up on screen, or those 6 images up on screen, make a bit more sense. As mentioned, just before we went to the cut or the edit for those pre-recorded character intros, I should say, I mentioned that earlier each week when we're playing on a Wednesday night, as we are tonight. I send out a few questions to the players, and again, this is designed to just develop those characters a bit more, help us understand them a bit more. And tonight, we are starting off with Anthony. Anthony, take it away, please.
Yeah, I'm going to answer a question. If your character could communicate with a deceased loved one, what would they say or ask? So Ascal would probably want to speak with his mother. And he would probably just be curious to know a bit more, because she passed away when he was still young, just a bit more about his father and them and how, I guess, Ascal came about.
Okay. Cool.
Birds and the bees.
But yes. A mummy and a daddy love each other very much.
I think probably add to that is because he's half elf.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. He knows his mum was elvish, but a bit more about his dad.
Cool. Okay. Very good. Who would you like to hear from?
Oh, let's hear from Dara/Jada.
Dara/Jada, sure.
Thanks.
Jada. So I thought I'd go down her skills list and sort of try and explain why she's got some of those skills.
Mhm.
So I've sent a photo in.
Yep, sure. Coming right now. There we go.
This is for people watching, but also for myself to sort of learn more about my own character.
Mhm.
So Jada was bullied a lot, so she often would rather spend time with the animals, and she would see these wild horses down at the oasis in the desert where she grew up. That's where she'd try and escape to, because they were obviously a lot nicer to her than her peers. And yeah, so she would try and befriend them, learn to ride, so she can ride horses. And then she learnt how to heal them. So she's not as good as how she can heal humans, but she does have a skill in animal healing.
Okay.
Well, there's a question I want to answer too. I'll keep it quick.
Mhm.
It just said here, describe an instance when your character faced a moral dilemma and chose a path that conflicted with their alignment. Well, I just thought I'd share with you guys that there was a time when I almost did this, when we went to heal Kyrios and they didn't like Jada because of her religion. She did think about just pretending that she was something else. So she was very conflicted about it, but she thought actually she probably would, and then just ask for forgiveness from the gods later, if she had to save her friend's life.
Nice.
But normally she's very religious, so it was very hard for her to come to that conclusion. I mean,
Excellent.
normally she's very loyal to
Yes.
her religion. Yeah. Thanks.
Lovely. Who would you like to hear from? Thank you, and thanks for the image. Lovely.
Who's next on the list? Pete.
Cool, thank you. What a great idea of sort of fleshing out skills of your character.
That is a
I
good
really
idea.
like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I might answer more than one question because I can do them quickly. So for Nicholas, how would your character react if they were offered a position of leadership within the party? He'd decline. He's not at all interested in being a leader. He likes to make little suggestions to people, but he wouldn't want to lead. How does your character approach solving problems within the party? Are they diplomatic, confrontational, strategic? He's strategic. So he will make observations and perhaps mention to someone else to do the confrontations. So he's a little bit not manipulative, but he just doesn't like to put himself forward. And what is your character's stance on mercy and forgiveness, especially towards enemies or those who have wronged them? If someone wrongs him, it means they're volunteering to be one of his subjects in his experience, basically. And that will help restore the balance to the world if they, make up for the wrongdoings. And this can be
one of his subjects.
Yeah. It can be a wrong look. This can be someone who sneers at him, who just sort of looks at him the wrong way. But that if that happens, then obviously they have done this, and they deserve to, participate in his research. So that's Nicholas. Can we please hear a bit more about Yotto?
Sure.
So obviously Yotto's just met the party, and the obvious question for him to be perplexed about would be, how would your character react if they were offered a position of leadership within the party? Well, he would obviously refuse and be somewhat perplexed, having just met them. I guess the second question would be, what's your character's stance on mercy and forgiveness? Well, Yotto is a follower of Dio. I think mercy, forgiveness, and understanding the way would be important in that, but his life experiences would suggest that mercy is only for some and not for all.
Okay.
And I pass it over to Graham.
Right, thank you. In regard to how does your character approach solving problems in the party, taking Severin, 2 of the 3, strategic, but also diplomatic, talking things through. Whereas Tenya would also enjoys playing together and being strategic, and so she can use a bow where she's most happiest. But she would, by in contrast, be rather confrontational in terms of talking things through. She would be a little bit kind of more abrupt and straightforward, and possibly tread on people's feelings.
Oh.
In terms of mercy and forgiveness, Tenya less concerned by such things generally. If she doesn't really have a relationship with the person. Severin, meanwhile, once someone crosses them and tries to kill them, mercy doesn't trouble him quite so much. A non-combatant, yes, absolutely. Forgiveness to a certain degree, but not if someone's actively trying to spear you, which most of our enemies tend to. When it comes down to putting your life on the line, I don't think he'd have any qualms about finishing people off who've crossed the party so demonstratively.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well met, one and all. And there is the 6 up on screen, gentle viewer, gentle listener, up on screen and named. Brilliant. So, Pete, you were away for a little bit of last session, but would you mind, please, giving it your best shot and trying to summarise what happened last session in a few sentences? I might augment a few of the things you say with some images, but otherwise, go for it.
Cool, thank you. So, last session saw us leaving Landania on the boat with Opera on his boat to Osot. So he was the person who was our connection there, and we were waiting with him whilst we made our connection to Ras Garret further on. But so we sailed up the coast, found rather a neglected, a wretched sort of little town. We went and found lodging. Went to our lodging house that we were to stay at, and there we met Yotto, a new member of the party, and we had a really good, I thought it was quite an in-depth discussion of who he was, his history, his relationship with Corvash Papillus, sort of our arch enemy, the person in Tikos who we are sort of following to try and foil his plans for ending the world as we know it. So Yotto had history with him. We learned about the weapons he uses. We learned about a bit about how he was quite a free-spirited sort of person, a follower of Dio, and sort of takes people as they come. It seems to me, and very open. If you wanted to add more there, Giles, about
I think that's
Yotto.
a summation of the sorts of things that we talked about with Yotto.
Oh, thank you. I think following that, we tried some wonderful attunement. Nicholas had attuned a lightning bolt ring, and we thought the Askel would be appropriate for Askel to use. Unfortunately, that didn't work out as according to plan, and I think Askel fried himself a little, and could never use that ring, which is a real shame. I believe Yotto was going to try it, or had tried it, I can't remember, to attune it. Nicholas was trying to attune the signalling rod from the other party.
Yotto did manage to attune it, and has been very generously given it by the party.
Oh, excellent. I didn't make note of that. After that, I can't remember exactly how long we were to stay there, but we travelled to Ras Garret via navigator column, I believe, and arrived. So this is a city far to the west in a colony of oh my goodness,
Thrace.
Thrace, thank you, the Kingdom of Thrace. So sort of an odd mix of cultures, I suppose. There was certainly Thracian people around, people from the Roldenic Church, but also these blueskins walking the streets. So akin to Celtic, I guess, as well as sort of medieval English, sort of the Thracian and the sort of the more people of the land thing, as well as we also noticed, just as we were arriving, we were met by Maisie, our contact in this city, who was going to provide us with accommodation. Yeah, we were we also noticed the symbol of the Joyful Butchers. So the mercenary group that has certainly got a connection to Severin's mum, Elka. So we hopefully are going to be connecting with her. That was, I think we were up to have just arrived in Ras Garret and met Maisie, I believe.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Pete. I'll kind of pick up the narrative in a second, but anything anybody wants a qualification on, anything that's not clear, anything that we need to touch on? Oh,
I've got not about this, but I've got other questions, or is that what we're about to ask?
yeah. Well, anything that's not clear from last session that we need to round off for this session before we start the session.
Not from last session.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. If we're all sitting comfortably, let's start the game. So yes, indeed, you are in this frontier, what appears to be a frontier garrison town of Ras Garret. And as mentioned at the very closing end of last session, walking around the streets, you see three main groups of people. You see the blue-skinned people, and we'll come back to a couple of images of them in a second. You also see Thraycians, who would be the equivalent of Renaissance Europeans in their appearance and particularly their dress. So quite a few rapiers, etc., and ruffed collars, and similar to architecture. And then also a whole mixture of different ethnicities, different clothing, different weapons, and there are definitely weapons on display by these people. But every single person has either a tabard, so a piece of cloth that goes over their clothes, and or like quite a large round. I'm trying to find a round thing on my desk. There is no round thing on my desk. Round badge about this big that looks like this on screen. The symbol of the Joyful Butchers. A sword with a harp. 10,000 spears strong. Last time you came across them. A major mercenary company. That some of this group, certainly Nicholas, Jadar, Severin, have come across yes, that's it. And Tanya have come across previously. Back to just a couple of images of the street. So yes, indeed, there are these locals, these M.E.R.P people, of which Nicholas is related to. Nicholas, you've chosen to not go down the more traditional style, which is to have tattoos and to be bare-chested, but these are your distant kinsfolk, different part of the world, not too far away from where you're from, but a different part of the world, but absolutely the same general ethnicity, similar language, similar culture, etc. I mentioned it was a garrison town. It's kind of a blend of kind of architecture and people that look like this. So you'll see that soldier standing there. Can you see my mouse on screen? It's not showing up. That's a shame. There are several soldiers in the foreground. So definitely quite a few soldiers that look like that. And some of the architecture looks like that. There's definitely some high stone walls. What appeared to be, from what you've seen, in pretty good condition, and some other kind of that flavor of ethnicity. So if you take some of that architecture and you blend it with this and these kind of people, you get a bit of a sense of what you're at, and a bit kind of a wider shot here, and you can see fortifications up on the hill, a wider shot there. One other thing to note. As you're walking through the steep by your host, and I'll come to your host in a second, there is the comet you can see in the sky. You've been seeing it now for quite some time, and initially it was only visible at night, but it is getting a little bit brighter and brighter, basically each day. I mentioned your host. You were met at the navigator column by this woman, quite softly spoken. She speaks Westron. And certainly most of the language that you hear on the streets around you, at least by the Thracians, is indeed Westron. But there are tribal languages that are being used by the M.E.R.P people. So yeah, the date is just to key you in. You do know this because you've come off Dual Islands and you're aware of the date. It's the 11th of year's end, so in a couple of short weeks' time, it will be the end of the year, and then into 1787, the next year. To answer one of your questions from before, Pete, you spent around 6 or so days in the miserable swamp town of Osot. And just to touch on that, you are quite pleased to be in this environment. It's still hot. Definitely, Ras Garret is still warm. You can see the palm trees there in the background to give you a sense of it. It is still hot, but it's not unbearably so. It's also it doesn't have that hideous humidity. It's a bit warm, sure. It doesn't have that horrendous humidity that you had in Landana, and indeed throughout the Katana Sea. There's quite a pleasant breeze blowing, and the sun is shining. There's no rain. It's a beautiful day. Where you find yourselves currently walking is following your host, who just came up to you as you arrived at the navigator column. She came up to the very well-armed and well-disciplined Thraycian soldiers, just had a quiet word with them, and then just pulled you to one side and just quietly said, "Welcome to Ras Garret. My name's Macy. Please follow me." And she's now taking you out into the streets, and you're walking through the streets, and that's where we are going to begin the game. Anything on the back of what I've said? Any qualifying questions I need to know?
Yeah, I had a couple. Yeah, in the past, people have been able to identify Nicholas as being Mara. Is there something that makes him look more Mara than just any other sort of common man race?
Just his features, perhaps his hair color a little bit. He doesn't have tattoos, but he is just his facial structure is similar to these people. Not the same, but similar-ish. Yep.
Okay. Just as a general note, so he does speak Alberinian, which is, I believe, the Mara language.
Correct.
He is going to the best of his ability, he'll listen in to conversations around him, but he doesn't want to ever let on that he can speak that language.
Sure. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So he would be trying to pass for not being Mara. I mean, that's his general state of mind, but also just particularly it might give us some sort of extra information or an edge of some description.
Cool.
And just one other thing I wanted to double check. That our information about where we wanted to go in this region, I think it came from, I can't remember her name.
Jasir Al-Hasif.
Thank you very much. He has a strong lead. So Torvash Papillus has a strong lead to dust in. Now this is what I'm not sure about. A ruined alchemy site of the ancients. Was it alchemy? Okay, cool. Just wanted to check that. And it was in the region of near Ras Garret, the region of Kinsale. Is it MacArthur clan or I don't know. Is it MacArthur?
M.E.R.P.
MacArthur. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just wanted to clear that. Just get those details clear before we whole group knows them.
Sure.
In case we need to use them.
And
thank you.
What you were told was, I'll tell you what. I don't mind. I'll pop this in the chat if it just helps. This is what you were told by very strange woman, the head of the Solar Council in Jebbai Ritana. Not that long ago, a couple of weeks ago. That was what she shared with you. Going into main game chat now. That was, by the way, in terms of timeline. Today is the 11th. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You had that conversation with Jasir Al-Hafiz 3 weeks ago. All right. I might just go through each character actually, and just test any reaction. Anything, especially from Anthony. Anything from Askell as you're walking through the streets.
No, he's just probably just taking it all in, just nosing around, looking for anything of interest, wares, or just studying the people a bit, just sort of taking it all in. Not I don't think he's feeling threatened at all. But yeah, he's just. It's a town. It's a village. There could be anything, pickpockets, you name it. You know, things can appear out of nowhere.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all.
Anything from Sarah?
Also being hyper aware of what's going on, seeing as what happened in the last town, and
Okay.
just in general how people treat her. She's always just looking around to see what's going on.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Nicholas, we've touched on you a little bit, saying that you were actively, trying to avoid not looking Mara or not looking as though you understand. Anything else I should be aware from you?
No, just being discreet and sort of tagging along with the rest of the group. But yeah, of course, keeping an eye out on things.
Okay, sure thing. And Severin and Tanya.
Well, Severin, particularly animated and excited that his mother potentially could be in town. I guess we'll be straining around and looking, but I guess understands to find our lodgings first and get settled and then plan from there.
Sure, cool. And lastly, the new boy, Yotto. Any reaction from Yotto?
He'd simply be observing and mostly his newfound colleagues, and sort of seeing what they are up to, open to the experience, but no, not particularly doing anything.
Fair to say to both Yotto and the rest of the party, there wasn't much to do in Osot, and you had, as I said, nearly a week in Osot. So, you've only known Yotto for a week, but you've spent a fair bit of time chatting amongst yourselves. You would say you know each other. A number of you know each other really well. Some of you know each other. This is the 12th month of the year, and both Jadar, Tanya, and Severin have known each other since the 5th month of this year. So yeah, okay. All right. Well, you continue along behind your host, Maisie. She glances over her shoulder every now and then and gives you a smile to make sure that you're keeping up. And you're trotting along. You are one thing you do notice, and she does when she's glancing over her shoulder, you do realise that she's particularly checking out two members of your party, and the first of those is the 6'7" healer Jadar, and also Askell. And within a couple of blocks, and it's not much more than a couple of blocks because this is a town, it's definitely not a city, it doesn't seem that big. Some of the images I showed are perhaps a little bit grandiose. Definitely Jadar and Askell, you are attracting attention. And you did get it a bit even from the soldiers when you first arrived. A couple of them were about to kind of reach up and grab you, in fact. I neglected to mention, but Maisie managed to step in time. There's definitely hostility directed at you, and all of you feel it. Not at you, Severin. Not at you, Nicholas. Quizzical looks at Yotto, but certainly the very, very tall healer woman with a headscarf and clothed very much in the traditional clothes of her homeland, and indeed presumably with Askell much the same. A lot of attention, and on at least 2 occasions, people kind of spit. Not in front of Jadar. That would be rude, but close to Jadar. But yeah, nothing else. I mean, does Jadar or anybody else react when those 2 instances happen?
Yeah, I think I'll go and get changed. I carry a shirt and pants, so I might just grab, say to Askell, let's go get changed.
Okay. Well, your host encourages you, or she sees that you're moving off to one side and says, "Yes, I'm sorry. They're not particularly fond of your kind here." She's speaking, by the way, in Westron. Does everybody understand? I think everybody except the Yotto.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't understand it at all. But I wouldn't bother Yotto.
Yeah, I think Esker would, rather than changing, would probably just ask Maisie, how long till we get to
No,
destination?
we're very close. As I say, maybe it's best if we move on quite
Yeah,
rapidly.
I think let's just keep moving and perhaps with a brisker pace.
She leads you down. Sorry, just to check. Jada does understand Westron. I think everybody does except for Yotto. I certainly.
Yeah, she's level 7.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah.
So she leads you down a couple more streets. This is not a huge city. It really isn't. It isn't massive. And you've only been walking for maybe 15, perhaps 20 minutes tops. You think you might be able to find your way back to the Navigator Stone, or the quite large, officious-looking building with soldiers outside as well as inside that house the Navigator column. So yeah, not a massive city. And she leads you into this street here. The street is reasonably accurate, except the cobblestones are perhaps a little bit better than what they are there. There are definitely less Mara people, so less blueskins around. There's also at the very end of the street, at probably, again, damn, my cursor's not there. That's irritating. Basically, the height of the trees, at the not the total height, but the next layer of trees down, there is a large, very robust, very solid-looking dark stone wall with battlements, and you can see soldiers patrolling battlements. So Maisie comes and she takes you around one of these corners, and you find yourself standing outside quite a humble-looking, two-storied, what appears to be a pottery shop. And Maisie turns to you. The host turns to you and just says, "Welcome. This is our home. Please come inside. You are very welcome." She takes you inside. On the ground level, you enter through this door here, and there are a variety of pretty impressive pots, fired pots for sale. There's also that small stall outside as well. She shouts, "Yorin!" And in a minute or so, wiping his hands on his apron, is this man here. He comes out smiling. "Oh, more guests, Maisie, more guests. Welcome to our home. I'm Yorin." And Maisie and Yorin turn to you and say, "You're very welcome in our home. What is your name?"
Well, Severin will immediately step forward and give the guy a hearty shake, assuming that's the done thing in these parts.
He does hold up his hand and say, just a minute, and wipes the clay off his hands and kind of hands out a couple of fingers to shake.
He said, "Don't worry about that. I'm Espen Torrevere."
"Well met, Espen. Well met."
"And these are my companions."
Yeah, Nicholas would step forward and introduce himself as Thomas Tallis, sort of quietly.
Okay. Others?
Yotto can see what they're doing, so might wave, but wouldn't do anything else. He doesn't understand what's being said.
Right.
Sorry, I suppose throughout this, Nicholas will be happy to murmur to Yotto, just quietly to keep him up abreast of happenings if he needs translation.
Okay. Anything from Askell or Jada?
Jada, I was thinking, is that Chris Hemsworth?
IPS.
He looks expectantly towards Jada and Askell. He does kind of look you up and down, and particularly looking Jada up and down. Jada is huge, 6'7", so yeah, checking out the massive Arab one.
As is Yotto, 6'7", I believe, as well.
Correct. He a tall boy, but not Arab.
Okay. Well, no. Doesn't sound like any immediate reaction from those two characters. He looks a little bit puzzled. Turns to Yotto and smiles. And your name, sir?
I guess Yotto would turn to Nicholas,
Nicholas is happy to translate.
right, and he'd say, "My name's Yotto. I'm sorry, I don't speak your language."
You're
What are they speaking, Chris?
Westron.
Westeron? Yeah, no. So, and he'd ask Nicholas if he'd be kind enough to let him know.
Yeah, I'm just happy to say that throughout this, if Nicholas is always happy to translate, so I think Yotto can speak up
Cool.
any time, and Nicholas will tag along with him, basically.
Okay. He smiles. He then turns back. He's looking a little bit quizzical at Jada and Askell. I'm sorry, friends. You didn't say your name before. Who do I have the pleasure of?
Askell will introduce himself. I can't remember if he has a name.
Jada, I've put you
I
had a
saw it.
surname. Yeah.
That's funny. Jada will introduce herself as Amaranth Tallwarden.
See, you're as they say, you're not as the telltellers say, you're not from around these parts, are you? I don't think.
Yeah, I think I'll look to Askell for him to answer because I don't really talk to men. So I'll just sort of lower my eyes, look to Askell.
Yeah. There you go. I don't think Askell has a code to know pseudonym, so he'll just introduce himself as Askell.
Okay. Oh, well met, friend Askell, and he also then uses Jailer's name. Yes, you're Arabs, if I'm not mistaken, from Thamazul. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Askell will say, yeah, specifically Jibai... No, Shabibi, sorry. Port City of Shabibi.
Not the warmest of relations between Thrace and Thamazul at the moment. And he pulls Maisie aside, as you're presuming his wife, and they have a bit of a private conversation, and quite a bit of kind of talking amongst themselves, and then looking back at you and kind of smiling, and then talking amongst themselves, and then looking back at you and smiling. I say, well, look, you are very welcome here. Our mutual friend has told you, has told us about you, and you're of course our honoured guests. We do have lodges on a reasonably regular basis. Our accommodation is not particularly lavish, but you should be comfortable. We have 2 rooms upstairs with enough pallets. Well, there are sleeping mats for at least 8 people, so you should be comfortable. And there is a private privy out the back. There's a bathhouse around the corner. Please come up, and I'll show you the rooms, and I'll give you some keys. There are keys both to your doors and also a key to the front door. And with that, Maisie takes you upstairs, and you head up into these 2. You can see on the image the far right rooms. They're 2 adjoining rooms. They're quite small. Quite small windows looking in, but the rooms themselves are of moderate size. It's cozy, and there are in each room there are 4 pallets, 4 basically sacks of straw or pallets of straw. There's a simple basin and a washstand and basin and a jug for washing and ablutions, and a few other items, basic furniture. There's a coat rack for hoods and cloaks, etc. Pretty Spartan, but very clean, very tidy, and the whole place has a sense of somewhere that's well cared for and well looked after. Maisie says, I'll leave you here to get situated, but myself and Yoren will be downstairs. She does say before she departs, looking at both Askell and Jada, as I think you were suggesting on the street walking here, you might perhaps be more comfortable and perhaps other attire in this place. Come down when you're ready, she says, and she heads out and closes door. Oh, that's not what I want. Yeah. I want to get it. I want to find it. Where is it? No. Count. Old Town. Here we go.
Better be good.
Going. Yeah. I'll build it up now. Here we go. Well, that wasn't very dramatic, was it? Again. That was the first one. That was the second one. There we go. She heads downstairs. What do you do?
Can I just jump in? This reference to the tension between Tamazul and Thrace, how much do we know about that?
Been happening for months. A long time. There has been increased tension between all of the major nations on Earth. There has been rumours that at times it's going to be potentially going to spill over into actual war. There has been talk that final solutions are going to be used. So that would include the information that your friend Ningwin shared about incredibly powerful incantations which destroyed the Lords of Akana, which now all of the major powers use, and potentially unleashing those. The last you really heard about them a lot, because you were listed. Well, you'd heard about them because you're in a Thraycian or a Roldenic place. Was in Manta, in the holy Roldenic land of Satras, and there was definitely talk some weeks back about more tension. You haven't really been listening much or asking much in the way of questions, but yeah, tensions have been rising over the last few months. And there is border skirmishes. So, for example, in the Goland Strip, which a number of your characters know quite well, in various shipping lanes and passages throughout the sea, there are privateers who ostensibly are private, but they often will work for a particular one of the great powers, and they will relieve merchants and other vessels of other major powers of their wealth and indeed their lives at some stage. So there are a number of hotspots around the world, tension points.
Thank you. I would Nicholas be suggesting to Severin, who's the talker, I guess, that at some point we discover what the latest on the political climate is.
Good idea. So, what do we want to do? I think I'll probably let you guys get changed, but I don't know. I for one would be quite keen to see if my mother is in town, and she would obviously be a good source of information. Failing that, I guess we would see what our hosts know of, try and learn something of this city and town, and whether there's any archives or libraries or something that we could consult in terms of trying to find the whereabouts of this ruin. But I think it would seemed sensible just to see if I can make contact with my mother. That would seem the most straightforward way to go about things. She might be able to offer some assistance.
I think it sounds like a plan. I mean, we could just straight up ask our hosts if they know of any ruins.
Yep.
As well. Yep.
Do we have to worry about them? I suppose not. They're in the pay of. Yes, they're in the pay of the mob men.
Oh, the other thing I think we need to ask about is if Papillus has been here. So discreetly asking about other travellers coming in and sort of giving a description of him and find out, because we don't. I mean, 3 weeks ago,
that
we got the news that was posted on the channel, which was 8 weeks ago, that we knew he was going to be heading out to here. So who knows if he's here by now? Who knows if he's where he is? But I think it might be worth making inquiries.
Shall I go and do that then?
Yeah, I think Yotto would be marvelling at how clean and tidy and fantastic this place is. Um,
Lean straw.
and he'd be happy to come, and equally happy to stay and enjoy these luxurious abodes. And he'd
Well,
take advice from this.
I was going to say is, obviously Eskil, Jada, probably, even though if we do change clothes, probably better just to stay behind. But was it something about Yotto's general ginormousness that also drew a little bit of attention? So perhaps if Severin's going to go with someone, it would be Tanya and or Nicholas, perhaps?
I was only going to pop downstairs and talk to the... Not going far.
Oh, right, sorry.
I was just going to speak to the host and come back while you're getting changed. I'll share. I mean, there's no point. I mean, he'll repeat everything, so...
Sorry, I thought you were off to go and see your mum.
Oh, I'll just find out where she is, I think. I'll ask the host first and see what I get out of them, sure.
Good.
Okay.
Anyone's welcome, but...
Anything from either Jada or Nicholas I should be aware of?
Nicholas will accompany Severin. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm happy to stay at home and hide.
Okay. All right. Oh, no, wrong one. Didn't see that map, it doesn't exist. Okay, well, you head downstairs, and both your host, Joran, has disappeared, and you hear the sound of, perhaps not too surprising, a potter's wheel at the back of the shop. But Maisie's downstairs, and she's tidying up, but it kind of looks as though she's waiting for you. Hello, she says. Is everything okay? Is everything to your satisfaction?
More than to our satisfaction, thank you. It's a lovely place to stay. Thank you. Much appreciated.
You're most welcome. Most welcome.
Maisie, I wonder if have you got a moment to talk? We're new to town. I wouldn't mind just getting the lay of the land.
Certainly. Just you, or I was planning on briefing you, all of you, but just yourself, Espen?
Oh, my friend Nicholas. Sorry, William. Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, no, that'd be great. The two of our number just having a little change. You suggest? Sorry, we didn't give much thought to that. We don't really see each other's differences. We've been kicking around each other for so long. We understand different societies have different customs and tensions and so forth.
Our mutual friends send us all manner of travellers. Not often, but we see all kinds through here. Anybody is welcome.
And I see the Joyful Butchers are in town.
Yes, indeed. Have been for some months now.
And pray tell, do you know who leads them these days?
Yes, I do. He's made quite a show of it, making speeches and so on about how much he respects us and how much he wants his men to integrate and to treat the locals with kindness. Dare I say, noble ideals, but they're not always acted on. There has been, of course, some trouble. Men with swords and alcohol and locals don't always mix. His name is Murloc.
Murloc. Okay. So you won't have heard of anybody by the name of Elka Blattlander among their number. She'd be quite a distinctive woman with silver hair.
Don't know the name.
Likely to be high up their ranks.
There was a lower commander, an older woman with silver hair I've seen. Wears kind of striped pantaloons, red and white striped pantaloons.
But that does sound like someone I know. Yes, and where are they? Where are they staying?
Oh, the butchers. Well, they have two encampments. I mean, they're a large force. There's both the North Camp and the South Camp, but their headquarters are in Grey Hill, just underneath Underhill Ways. Perhaps half, maybe 3/4 of an hour walk from here. Not far.
Oh, maybe we'll. Thank you. If maybe I could get some directions off you at some point.
I can take you there if you wish.
Oh, but even better. Thank you. We yes, we have common friends, and potentially common foes, I suspect. I don't know how much of your our common friends' machinations and plans are shared with you, or not. But have you any sort of idea of why we're passing through town?
I don't know what a machination is.
Sorry, their plans or what what they're about in terms of.
Well, yes. I mean, I got the instructions.
So do you know why we're here?
I don't know why you're here, and I no offense, Aspen, but I don't want to know why you're here. But what I've been asked to do is to investigate on your behalf in advance of your arrival any activity by and you can see her face kind of. She's been quite friendly and there's perhaps a little bit of tension when she mentioned some of the strife between the joyful butchers and some of the locals a little bit, but you can see her lip kind of turn into a sneer as she says, watching and understanding any forces from Turang, the accursed Tikos, taking any interest in some ruins close to Ras Garret. And indeed, based on that information, I have scouts out looking for you now. They're due back, in fact, in 2 days' time, and they have been out looking for you in advance of your arrival for the last few days. I'm aware of, vaguely aware, and the scouts mentioned before they left, something about a valley that the blueskins, she kind of says blueskins in kind of the way you might smile a little bit, kind of wayward children, indigenous people that are just, a bit quaint. Those, about how the blueskins, they do have some very strange beliefs. They have some superstition about a valley to the south of Ras Garret, I believe, and there has apparently been increased activity around this valley, and apparently there is something old there. Anyway, I've sent the scouts out, Mara scouts, of course, and when they return in 2 days, they will be your guides.
Well, that is good news indeed. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Actually, that's marvelous. Brilliant.
It's my job. I was given a brief. We get a brief. It's very clear, and I enact the brief. My job is to help you here gather as much information as you can, and then pass you on to your next destination.
Are we aware of foreign agents in town? I mean, this is something we need to be wary of, particularly.
Foreign agents? I don't know what you.
From Turang. Is that something we should expect here?
I highly doubt it. This is a Thraycian garrison town. I mean, perhaps there are spies, but if they are found, and they are very, very quickly and harshly dealt with. There is the borderlands, and it's only a matter of maybe 2 days between this colony and indeed Turang proper. So tensions are high and people are heightened. If there are spies here, they're very clever ones.
Right. Very good. Nicholas, did you want to ask any questions?
Yeah, Nicholas would sort of just inquire. Our Arab friends had some strong reactions. Can you tell us about the latest in terms of the politics between Summersall and Thrace?
Politics? I am a potter's wife in Ras Garret, in southern northern Messenia, a relatively minor and insignificant little colony of the Kingdom of Thrace, a backwater, if you will. I don't know exactly, friends, what you mean by politics. I know that there's more tension. I know that there's daily talk about war between the great powers. I know there was some incident with a ship sinking to the north or something, but I think it was an Arab ship, but I don't know. Or maybe it was a Thracian ship. But certainly tensions are high, and we are daily seeing drills of Thracian soldiers who are the main garrison here, and they work with, of course, the butchers. The butchers tend to do more of the work outside the walls, and the garrison tends to do more of the work inside the walls, if you understand me.
Indeed. Against who outside the walls?
Dare I say, the Blueskins. I mean, bless them. Some of them are good people, and some of them, their roots go back here many generations. But some of them really don't know what's good for them, and we came here as and now looking at you, friend, I wonder if perhaps you might know a little bit about the Blueskins yourself, but we came here as a force for good, as a force to spread education and knowledge and wisdom, to spread the knowledge of Roldan. Blessings be upon him. And the old gods too, of course, but of Roldan, and they're ungrateful. They, they say that they like our roads and our wine and our aqueducts, and various other things, but they conduct acts of vandalism against us. In some places in this area, depending on which tribe you're dealing with, there is open warfare. And of course, we're on the border. This is a border town. And, a very short walk away is the border itself. And then it's the wildland. It's the land of the Blueskins in between, where the tribes rule. And there are some tribes, the people that you've seen walking through the streets here, the Dakan, which they're largely civilized, at least in Colony and also next door in Dransfeld, but their less civilized brethren do raise arms against us. Then there's the Lokdar. I mean, they are very, very fickle. I don't know much about them, but they are particularly fickle. Sometimes they're friendly to us, sometimes they're not. The Maccollan are down by the coast. They tend to be more peaceful, and they just simply like their fishing and keep to themselves. But the Maokatha, the largest and the most warlike, they're the ones that are throughout this region, and they're the tribe that are most prominent in wildlands, and they will often attack our patrols on site, and indeed raid into our borders here, across our borders into the colony. So that's the threat. we came here as civilizers, as people to spread the word of Roldan and to provide education and a better life for these people. And some may have taken to it, and some do. Others, however, they would much rather greet us with their swords and their spears, and their war cries, and their war darts tipped with poison.
Indeed.
Are you, Mara? She says.
Nicholas will say, the history of my family is certainly with those that have seen the more civilizing influence.
Good. Good. Well, that's good. And she holds out her hands to you, and she just gives a prayer to Roldan, basically.
Nicholas will join her in a prayer as well. Yeah.
Blessed be this man that he has seen the light, and that he and his family have seen the light of your wisdom, O Lord. Blessed be upon him and all his family and all his descendants.
Yeah. Nicholas will join her. Yeah.
And she crosses herself in the sign of the tree. Trees
Nicholas
herself.
Yeah, Nicholas will, if there is such a thing, because he's Roldenic, but tending, his family was Roldenic, particularly his father, but he is tending more towards Apollo, who is an old god of wisdom. He will certainly join in the prayer for Roldan, but he will cross free himself, but he'll also give the Apollo sign if there is such a thing.
Yeah, so as mentioned several times, Roldan is the son of Arohir, which is the king of the gods. So the old gods, such as Apollo and Aphrodite and all the rest, are still important for Roldan, but bit by bit as time goes on, Roldan just seems to be kind of pushing the old gods a little bit into the shadows. And the god king who sits in Solum, north of Bathsheba, is very keen on promoting Roldan, the son of God himself.
Yeah. Nicholas would be aware of that, and he'd want to be in good with her, so he will definitely acknowledge Roldan, but he'll also add his own little bit too. No, that's all Nicholas wants to. So yeah, he'll thank her and be quiet.
I mean, if you wish to pass on to your companions, I can tell you, or I can speak to all of you, but here are the keys I mentioned, she said. She hands out 3 keys, one to each of the doors upstairs and one to the main door to the shop. The gates, of course, of Ras Garret close strictly at dusk, and no one is permitted after dusk, so do not stray from the city after hours. But yeah, you may go as you wish. Our home is your home. There'll be 3 meals waiting for you, and she points through a curtained room. She pulls it aside, and there's a very plain but very, very extremely clean kitchen with a decent sized table. I'll be serving meals in here 3 times a day, along with Joran, and you're most welcome. Yeah, we're delighted to have you.
We're delighted to be here. Thank you. You're a wonderful host. Thank you very much.
Nicholas will thank her too, and he'll just sort of obviously think of one more question. He'll ask her if she knows of a Cathan clan.
Cathan?
For context, maybe he wouldn't ask this question, but the person the Werehole person is Gildwyn O'Cathan of Tinsel. So he's assuming, does he know if that's how clan names are put, as sort of like a last name? Was that the way it's put?
What words does he use? What does he ask?
Well, I'm asking first about his knowledge of Mara names. Would that be considered the clan name?
Yeah.
His name,
Yep, the full name would be his clan name.
Cool. So he would say, he would simply say, we were discussing the Blueskin tribes, and I've heard of another, just wanting information. Does she know of the O'Cathan clan?
O'Cathan. I don't. Of a Cathan clan, she does not. No, doesn't know O'Cathan.
Or Cathan, or O'Cathan. I don't know exactly how to put it.
doesn't know the
Or
name.
of Kinsel.
Oh, Kinsel,
well.
yes, of course I know Kinsel. Yeah.
Is that a clan?
It's a region, and it's a region and a clan take their name from that region. It's 3 days, maybe 4 days northeast of here. It's in the Mayo Katha. They're part of the Mayo Katha clan. The people from Kinsel are known to be particularly brutal, and they love their war darts in particular. They're everybody knows them because of their ferociousness in battle and their tendency of taking scalps and heads and mounting heads on sticks. So they have they call it a skull stick, where they keep their enemies' skulls literally on a piece of wood, as a tally of their success in battle. Fearsome people, horrible people, skin people alive, etc. And they are, their hometown is called Kinsel, and they're part of. So absolutely, everybody. She kind of shudders. I know the Kinsel clan. They are part of the wider Moakatha clan.
Bliss will thank her and grimace at her description of the grizzly stick spear thing. And thank her. Yep.
This moment, the GM's going to head to the loo. You guys have a chat. Back in a sec.
Ooh.
So, obviously, we'll reiterate all of that to everyone, but what do you reckon then? Just wondering what's the best way. Should Severin go off to find his mum alone, or should we all go? What do you think?
I think, as always, it's pros and cons of going alone, but at least maybe one.
Yeah, maybe.
If we're still trying to keep somewhat incognito, perhaps the less popular members, the locals.
Getting in to see her, that was my only thought. Rather than us all, trooping up. But I don't really want to do separate chat rooms though. But other than that, obviously he's keen to get. Obviously, it sounds like I've got some information coming anyway. But I think he may as well do some digging as well. Nicholas, did you want to come as well? Because you've got probably the best knowledge of where we are.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah.
If you think it's appropriate. I mean, if it's...
Well, she's met you before, right? So...
Actually, it might not be a bad idea for 3 people, because if he has to go into a camp by himself, Nicholas would prefer to have someone else to stay with him.
Oh, yeah.
If he's excluded. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Well, I could take Tanya as well, because she knows her as well.
Sure, yep.
Okay.
I mean, I think, should we get a read on how Arab Askell looks? I mean, just to mix up players, really. How Arab Askell looks once he's changed. I mean, if he looks like a normal person, looks non-Arab, then perhaps. I don't know.
Are you glammed up?
I just thought it might mix it up. Yeah.
Are you glammed up, Askell? Are you looking your best?
Yeah. Ty's hair back.
Earrings on.
Earrings off.
They're always on.
GM is back.
Yeah, maybe it's the earrings that's what's getting the looks.
That might be it. I think that and the lippy.
Yes.
GM's back. What do you do?
So I think we're going to take host up on our offer and go and see if we can find Mummy. And 3 of us are going to go. I think Askell once he's transformed.
Okay.
And Nicholas and Severin.
Okay.
Can I just ask, once Askell's changed, how does he look? Would he pass as Thracian? Or is he obviously Arab?
He looks divine.
So I guess he's half Arab. So, but I don't know how wrong that he's Arab looking? Like, did he get his mum's rather than his dad's?
Well, it was probably more clothing. Certainly, what appeared to be attracting the attention for Jadar was certainly her height, and also, yes, Yotto got some as well. Yotto is huge. But also the flowing, call them Bedouin for shorthand, but the robes of Jadar's people probably attracted a lot of attention, and presumably Askell would also dress somewhat similarly as well. So probably more clothes, you're guessing?
Yeah, Askell got some nice clothes when we were in Gibraltar, which would have been very local, Araby like. But yeah, Askell, if he got some, denim jeans and a black t-shirt or something, and leans in.
Okay. What do the other three characters do, please?
I think Yotto would be very happy to just stay behind. We'll possibly explore the immediate vicinity, but I mean, nothing which needs to be narrated.
Okay. And Jada?
I was going to say,
Yeah, happy to stay behind and hide. But nervous, so happy to stay behind in the room.
I was going to say, I take it those that are leaving would just leave our packs behind. Just take all that, just travel light.
Good point. So we noticed people were had weapons on the street. Was it only the Joyful Butchers, or as it's a frontier town, sort of short swords and longer swords are common? Well, we could ask our hosts that if we were unsure. Probably ask them what's appropriate if we can't think for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, what do you ask?
Well, did we notice if non-Joyful Butcher people were carrying weapons as we were travelling the streets? We were
100%. I made quite a point of this last session. Definitely, the Mara people were unarmed. None of them had weapons.
okay.
The soldiers were heavily armed. So the Thracian soldiers were heavily armed, as were the Joyful Butchers. They were in armor and weapons and shields. So, preparing for trouble at any second. Who knows? But they were certainly tooled up. Others, I mentioned there were a few people with rapiers on. So, particularly well-dressed people would have the common weapon in Corinth, which is the capital of Thrace, is indeed a rapier. And a fashionable Thracian man or woman would carry a rapier by their side. Less short swords, certainly less broadswords, which are kind of, they're combat weapons. Every now and then you might have seen someone with a broadswords, perhaps, but they were very few and far between.
Nicholas will leave his short sword.
Okay.
I think Severin will still take his sword.
Okay.
But he'll put it in his. He'll empty his pack out a bit, but he'll put it in, cover up in the pack as much as possible.
Yep. So if you remember this conversation from last time, a sword is a very long weapon. Backpacks are quite short. A lot of the weapon sticks out the top. You can't just you can't disguise the fact that it's a long weapon that's sticking out of your bag.
All right, we'll leave it on him then, on his weapon belt then.
Okay. That's cool.
But he'll leave his bow and
Yep.
and yeah.
Yeah, I guess S will leave his backpack. He'll take off his cutlass. He'll leave it behind.
Okay. All right, and just quickly a summation of how the three of you are dressed, heading out. Roughly, what are you wearing and what clothes what clothes? Where are those clothes from? Where have they been? Covered in blood in the bottom of your pack, or what condition are they in?
Yeah, I'm dressed like Carrie. Um, I think modest, but clean. I think we probably would have washed our clothes by now on the boat. I would have thought. But yeah, nothing ostentatious. I guess taking a look around at what people are dressed in and choosing the most appropriate, that where we don't stand out.
Yeah, Eskel might have to borrow off some of the people that are not going, because his backup clothes would be pretty similar to what he would be wearing normally anyway. Yeah, so Arab-ish anyway. So he'd need to get some Westerners type clothes. Just borrow it off the others.
Borrow Tanya's tights.
Yeah.
Is there someone roughly of Askel's size that could lend him some clothes?
He's 6'3".
Yotto's a sharer. He's 6'7", but he's pretty skinny. He'd be more than happy to essentially lend him anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could probably get away with just a change of shirt.
Okay. All right. And Nicholas?
Oh, same, very unassuming. Yeah, clothes that would fit in. He just has plain clothes, and he does have a spare set. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And it takes probably 20 minutes or so. You do freshen up, splash some water in your faces, use the facilities. You're probably quite peckish, particularly both Tanya and Askel, who unfortunately vomited up their breakfast when they first arrived this town from the rather unpleasant means of transport that you've come to. You've come to be somewhat familiar with. So call it 3/4 of an hour later, you set off. Just for the others, Yotto, you have a bit of a look around. Actually, I'll come to Yotto and your neighbourhood investigations in a tick, and we'll come back to Tanya and anything that Jada does too. The three of you set off with Maisie. She seems, she volunteered, more than happy to show you around. You head down the street, turn a very short corner, and then onto this major or larger thoroughfare, and you'll walk your way down, turn another corner, and you're looking up on your left-hand side up to the top of a small hill, and there's a decent-sized castle up there. You did see it on your way in. It's well made, looks comparatively new, and the Thraycian colours are flying above it. There are, as I say, a good number of probably more in this area, more Thraycian people around. So more tends to be more of this type of architecture-ish. Then Maisie leads you through an area which is very, very clearly Mara. And there's a comet going through the sky. But then shortly afterwards, you're back into more Thracian architecture. Not as large as that. It certainly wouldn't go up that far of the hill, and there isn't a body of water in the town. But a bit of a flavour of what the place is like. That's one of the town gates that you pass on your way through. And sure to her words, she leads you for about 3/4 of an hour, perhaps maybe 20 minutes, maybe a bit less. You bypass quite a large plaza with a couple of what appear to be civic buildings in there. There's some public gardens as well, and then down another quite major thoroughfare. You haven't, by the way, backtracked on the building that you entered by. You haven't seen it, or you don't recognise it anyway. And within about 20 to 30 or so minutes, you've come through a weave of streets, some alleyways, but the majority have been larger, wider streets. And you can see not far in the distance another wall. You're assuming the circular wall, which Maisie has told you closes the town. And there is a very, very large grey, three-storied granite building in front of you. Clearly some kind of public official office or something that is administrative nature. And flying out the front of it, very proudly, is a huge, absolutely massive banner. It's attached to a couple of the upper story windows, and it's indeed the sign of the Joyful Butchers, of the mercenary company that you know. Maisie turns to you perhaps a little bit unnecessarily and says, so this is the headquarters, this is the administrative headquarters of the Joyful Butchers. As mentioned, there's both a north camp where most of the troops are stationed, very close to the city, and a southern camp even closer to the city as well. Yes, I'm happy to wait for you. I can see you back at the accommodation if you wish. If you think you can remember the way, I'm in your hands.
Thank you. I'll make a quick inquiry if I may. We may not be that long. I'll just pop in and looking to make the acquaintance of someone I know. We may not be long, but I'm sure we can find our own way back. Are we happy to go our own way?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
How do we feel about finding our way back? Memory check sort of thing?
I'd ask for a memory check, but you just walked it. It's not that far. You're familiar with cities. I'd make it a plus 20 to the roll. Not a hard roll.
If we're going to do that, Nicholas would also ask Maisie for some pointers on directions back, just to sort of perhaps assist that. Yep.
Okay. Yep, she happily provides those. I'm collecting supplies for dinner. I was thinking either rabbit or goat. Do you have a preference?
Oh, either would be marvellous.
Friend Askell, you have a preference?
Probably goat. Yeah.
Okay. Does that would that appeal to you, friend? And she uses Nicholas's pseudonym.
Oh, Nicholas would be quite differential, and of course, whatever is on offer, it could be. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. I'll see you back at the shop then. Take your time. The streets here are safe, but do watch yourself, and certainly don't tarry into the evening.
No, we'll not be that long. Thank you.
She heads off.
There's another aside. Askell's got a navigation mapping skill, so I assume that sort of assists with finding the way back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep, definitely.
Okay. Well, he'll. Severin, I guess we'll go into the administrative office, looking as non-threatening as possible, with big, broad smiles, and make inquiries.
Okay. The three of you step up towards the large open, very thick, very solid, iron-bound double doors. There's a collection of 5 or 6 soldiers standing around them, and you're about to move through, and one of them, big man, you'd be probably half as tall again as Severin. And again, Severin's not particularly tall. Square jaw, middle-aged, going grey at the temples, decent scars on both his hands and his face. Just come up and just holds his hand out in front of Severin. Old friend, what do you want here?
Good day, friend. I've come to make inquiries of an old friend and colleague who I believe is still serving with the Joyful Butchers, and I wondered where I might make an inquiry.
You can make an inquiry with me.
Oh,
Very good.
Who do you seek?
Very good, sir. Well, someone who may well be known to you, a lady Elka Blattlander.
The rusted woman. Yes, we know Alcala Platlander. What business have you with her?
I am an old colleague.
One of the spits, by the way.
An old colleague and friend of hers from way back. Have not seen her for some time, and would like to catch up. And I've travelled wildly and have some intel that may interest her.
Intel, okay. Much good might it do it. I think that old hag's here, isn't she? Yeah. Yeah, she is? Yeah, okay. Wait here, Fred. Yes, she is around today. Wait here. By the way, it's a decent piece of ironmongery you've got in your hip. Do you know how to use that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I certainly do, sir. As I'm sure you do too. Yes. Yep, something of a enthusiast in that area for sure.
Where's your permit?
For a permit, sir? I'm sorry, I only arrived in town today.
Okay, well, anybody that's not a joyful butcher or a soldier of Thrace or a gentleman, and no offense, friend, you don't look like much of a gentleman, is not permitted to carry weapons within these walls. I'll let you off on this occasion.
Sure, it'll not happen again, sir, I assure you. I was not aware of that local custom. I saw many people carrying weapons, so I thought it would be...
Many people?
Yes. But, that's no problem. I'll return it to my quarters.
While you're chatting, one of the younger men lounging by the gate has headed off inside. Askell and Nicholas, any actions from yourselves at this stage? Just within earshot, but slightly further away.
Yeah, I think it'd be not looking suspicious like you're looking around a lot, but you just sort of kind of act natural, but but you're just keeping an eye out and around. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing from Nicholas.
All right. Cool. It's not long. Maybe only 5-10 minutes later, and you first see the older guardsman doesn't really pay you any further attention. Frankly, disinteresting at this stage. And the others just get back to chatting amongst themselves. The other guardsmen get back to chatting amongst themselves. You're basically ignored. Not long afterwards. 10 minutes, absolute max. And first, the younger soldier, spear and shield in hand. People are really tooled up here. He's wearing a mail shirt. It's quite warm. And he's wearing a helmet. It's quite warm. Carrying a shield, a spear. It's hot, but he's protected. He's got a sword at his side. Comes down, and a few feet behind him is Alk Flatlander.
Mommy.
Or it looks, at least, I think it's her. You have to do a bit of a double take. It's been 5 months since Severin, you saw your mother. 5 months ago, in the jungles of Gaul, at Waywald Beneath the Wall. At Waywald Beneath the Wall that had just been under extremely heavy assault by legions of blue-skinned soldiers, and who appeared to be led by Arab people, you may recall. It's been 5 months since you last saw her. But what a difference 5 months has made. And of course, Nicholas, you've met this woman before. Don't know her well. But you've met her before. Askell, of course, this person's a stranger. This is what she looks like. This is what she looked like. It's what she looked like about 5 months ago. Now, as she comes out, she is haggard. She was never a large person to begin with, but she is rake thin. She's lost a huge amount of weight around her face. Her cheeks are drawn almost like a skull. She's lost a lot of hair, and there are dark circles under her eyes. She's wearing basically the same clothes as you last saw her in, very similar to this, but they look as though they haven't had a decent wash for a very long time. They're not rags, they're not utterly filthy, but they're certainly not clean. And she walks. Previously, when you last saw her, she walked with a fast clip, a spring in her step, a military stride. Now there's more of a shuffle as she comes out to greet you. She sees Severin. By the way, the guardsmen appear to be complete. They kind of passing glance at her and then at you, but really no more interest. She sees Severin and Nicholas, and you're all, probably Askell too, staring closely at her, so I'm not going to ask for a perception roll for this. Her eyes initially go very wide, and then they narrow, and she moves up slightly faster this time towards you, Severin. The guardsmen are a little bit away at this point, and right now, Sevra, do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? Yes. Right now, Severin, can you join me very quickly in chat room 1? It will be just for a second or so.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So this happens in the twinkling of an eye, like it happens really fast. She comes she comes up very close to you, and in a whisper that no one else but Severin can hear. Like, she really keeps her voice down incredibly low. She just says, "Not here, not now. Tonight, Star Fountain, 8 bells." She says it really fast. "Not here, not now. Tonight, Star Fountain, 8 bells." She says it once. Severin gets it. And then she steps back and to the main chat. He doesn't have a chance to react to that. I'm sorry. Join me back in chat room 1. And back again. Yep. There we go. So you see this woman kind of lean in close to Severin, and then she steps back, and she just exclaims in a very, very loud voice, "You again! How many times have I told you? I am not interested in purchasing your substandard, poor quality, frankly dangerous quality, either short swords or daggers or whatever blades you're hawking. I don't care what lies you've tried to tell to get me in here. I'm sick of you chasing me, and I will not be purchasing them for my men. Good day, sir, for the last time." And she turns on her heels and walks off, and all of you just catch kind of a "ha, my men," and a spit and a gob from one of the guardsmen. Any reaction?
Yeah, well, Severin will play along and look sort of downcast, and then turn on his heel and walk away and say to the others, "Let's go."
will follow.
Happy to follow along.
Get that sword checked, said the guy at the gate as Severin walks off.
Severin acknowledges them and nods.
What do you do?
Well, where will we get the sword? Actually, I'll ask him, where does he go to get the sword checked?
Leave it where you're staying. Don't care, just don't bring it on the street.
Very good. All right, well, we'll head back. Unless anyone else has got something they want to do.
Nope.
No, just get back.
Nicholas will give Severin a questioning, raised eyebrow look, but just
As we're walking back, when other people aren't around, and if we're walking side by side, making sure no one can overhear, he'll whisper. Clearly, the eyes have. This town has eyes. I've made an arrangement to meet.
Yep. Nicholas will nod and just show he's heard, but we'll just keep walking.
Same as Askell. Askell would probably also just keep listening, but also just keep an eye on what's going around us as well.
Okay. Yeah, you make your way back. Could I? I'm going to ask for. A navigation roll to get you back. I said it was plus 20. Happily take a navigation skill if you've got it as well. Otherwise, it's just your memory bonus. 50 or above plus 70. Plus 20.
All three of us, or
Start with probably the one the best chances to get you there, and then we'll go from there.
actually got plus 18 with navigation mapping. And then just got
No, that's the skill, so I reckon go with that.
Yep.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
69.
69, dudes. Yeah, look, could be easier. It's not. It really isn't a big town. Yeah, you wander your way back. Probably. I mean, you do see several things of note. You do definitely see. Not trouble exactly, but on your way, you didn't see it on the way here, but on the way back, you do notice 3 joyful butcher soldiers kind of clipping some of the local kids around the ear. Not excessively violent, but definitely roughing them up a little bit. It's the first thing you kind of notice. Definitely quite a few rats around. Probably the last thing you notice, kind of just as you turn into the street, and the main street, the street, or the main street that I mentioned that then turns off, there's a cluster of people standing some way back from one of the buildings looking up, about 10-15 people. A number of people looking quite concerned. Probably about 2-3 blocks away from where you live.
What are they looking at?
Yeah, so up on one of the nearby trees, several of the trees, there's a number of two trees and a nearby building. Seem to be a large number of honeybees forming.
It's warm. I think be on our way, shall we?
Yeah, for sure.
Briskly, I think.
Yeah. Moving quickly.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it and walk away briskly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you thanks to Askell's good navigation and also as mentioned, this is not a large town. You make your way back pretty easily. Find your way back to the pottery shop at about the same amount of time. What do you do?
So are we grouped?
Yeah, sure.
Nicholas-
Just quickly before you do, Yotto, Jada, and Tanya, anything I should know about Yotto? You're having a bit of a look around. I'll describe that to you in a second. Either Tanya or Jada doing anything?
Tanya just checking the integrity of the room, the windows shut properly, and things like that. Can you get in through the windows?
Let's have a look.
We can't see.
No, you can't. Sorry, and I just realised I put the swarm up in.
Oh,
You guys didn't see the swarm, did you?
no, we didn't.
Here's the
Sorry.
swarm. Here's the swarm. So a couple of trees that it's on, and then a couple of nearby buildings. Yes, please, if the camera does go off, just remind me, because I always forget when I come in and out of the chat rooms to switch it back on. In terms of the windows, you're asking about the windows. Could you get in and out there? Yeah, you could. Yep. I mean, this is a pottery shop and attached house to it. It's not built to repel boarders, but it's relatively well made, you would say, and reasonably solid. But yes, you can get in and out of the windows on both of the two rooms that you're in.
And they lock? Do they lock?
They don't lock, but there are shutters on the outside.
Okay.
As we're coming in, if Maisie is still around.
Yeah. Sorry, just dealing with that was Tanya's question. Anything from Jada?
No, I would have gotten changed though, and just resting.
Okay, cool. And Yotto, having a bit of a look around the local streets.
I think he'd walk the block, basically. He'd walk around the block, see what he could see what sort of the people are like. Basically, would be keeping to himself.
Yeah, he did definitely see that collection of people staring at these kind of insect swarms at the end of the street. Yeah, so from where you are, the block is. I really wish why is my cursor not showing up? I'll have to change that for next time. Anyway, so down the street, at the very end, I described there's a wall, and you kind of have done the route around to the end of the wall, and then back down the circuit of where the pottery shop is, and you've also seen the swarm. Definitely a better part of town. The architecture is probably that, but a lot nicer. The streets are a lot better, less M.E.R.P people, and more soldiers.
And the vibe of the place is friendly, unfriendly. People keep to themselves.
People are curious. Yeah, this is predominantly human, definitely human, and you're very much not human. So, no, he does get some quite reasonably curious stares, and he is huge and built like a beanpole. So, he attracts a bit of attention.
Okay. Yeah, he's used to that. All right. And people aren't being actively hostile and aren't being actively friendly. He'd just file the information away and return.
Yeah. Neutral would sum it up.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, the group that was out have now returned.
Nicholas is just wanting to intercept Maisie if she's in the downstairs.
Is she? No, she's not there, I'm afraid.
Okay. He's just wanting to he wants to keep an ear out for when she arrives because he wants to question her or mention the bees to her when he sees her next or when he hears that she's back.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, Severin will kind of, in a hushed tone, mention that for whatever reason, his mother didn't want to acknowledge him, and he's made an arrangements for tonight. I think it was 8 bells, wasn't it, Chris?
Yes.
At a fountain. So I just need to find out where that is.
Give me a memory check, please, Severin.
93.
93. Yeah, I mean, you passed it. It couldn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it couldn't be any more obvious. It was a big. Well, you passed a fountain that was called. You passed a fountain that was very obviously in the shape of a star. Whether that's the star fountain, you don't know, but that is a fountain that's in the shape of a star.
Seems like a good guess. Okay. So yeah, that's obviously till tonight. What time does it get dark here? Do we know? Probably quite late, is it? We're quite near the equator. Oh no, we're near the equator. Yeah, probably quite early. Anyway, so yeah, he kind of needs to make arrangements there. To sort of, sneak out and make that liaison.
Who wants to go by himself?
I wouldn't mind a couple of people holding back. Like, perhaps Tanya could blend into the shadows a good way off, and keep an eye on things. And anybody else who wanted to do the same, fine. Yeah.
I think some people who are good at hiding. I mean, Maisie gave us the message that the streets weren't safe after dark, right?
Yeah.
So perhaps the less the better, and people who are good at being discreet.
Well, Tanya would be happy to do that for sure.
Probably not the tall, sticky out, non-human beanpole.
Yeah, that's what, that sort of one. Yeah.
Nicholas can make someone invisible.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, even better.
If that's helpful.
Yeah.
So if he wants to nominate someone to go, I don't know if Nicholas is the best person to go.
Well, Tanya's very quiet. She'd be happy to go. She's good at sneaking.
Esco has a basic stalk hide. He's happy, but obviously it's just pretty basic.
It's just struggling to hear you a little bit, Anthony. At least I am.
Mm.
What was that?
Right, I was going to say, Esco's happy to go. Is it a basic stalk hide skill?
Well, how about if Nicholas just casts invisibility on Eskel?
Yeah, he's happy with that.
Okay.
You can kind of work in tandem with Tanya somewhat. Obviously, because if he gets bumped, it disappears, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So he'll have to obviously position himself so as not to get bumped.
That's great. Actually, would Nicholas cast invisibility? Given we're going to go to sleep anyway, would he cast on Tanya as well?
Of course, yeah, whoever you want.
Might be useful. I may as well, right? If you're going to sleep anyway. Yeah, that might be handy. Then she could take her bow and all the rest of it. Okay.
Happy to do that.
Thank you.
Just say the word.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Just to move things on a little bit. Maisie comes back a relatively short time later. You hear her downstairs. Nicholas, you'd indicated you wanted to speak with her.
Yeah, he would just slip down and just let the rest of the group know that he's going to go and ask, just to let her know about the bees and ask if there's anything that we ought to know about the bees in these parts. And he'll just go down and wish her, greet her, hope that wish her that her shopping went well. Ask if he can help with her with anything, and just sort of mention that when we were returning out on the street, he noticed a crowd looking at a couple of swarms of bees. Is this common? Is there anything we need to know about them? Are they dangerous in these parts?
Bees? Oh, yes, I saw them. Yes, as I came in. I don't think so. They make honey?
Very good.
But thank you. No, look, I'm fine in the kitchen. If you would tell your companions that dinner will be served at 7 bells.
Excellent. Yep. And yeah, he'll thank her and head back up and pass the message on.
Cool.
And say there's nothing to be seen there about the bees.
Okay. Yeah. Anything I need to know? Anything that characters are doing, saying, interacting with each other? Anything going on? Oh, okay.
Not from
Nothing from me apart from language lessons, spell list learning, just a bit of study, that sort of stuff. Just the quiet time activities.
All right. Very good. Well, 6 o'clock rolls round. You haven't actually physically travelled a long way, but you've come a long way, and maybe that's caught up with some of you, and it's quite nice to be indoors. It does definitely get a bit cooler in the evenings. It's certainly still warm. Dusk is around at about 6 o'clock, and you enjoy a fantastic meal of some kind of goat stew that Maisie prepares. She, perhaps no surprise, is an excellent cook. And there's some delicious Thracian wine and some good beer to go with it. It's a really nice meal. That said, your accommodation in Osot wasn't good, but the food was. But this is a nice change, and it's just really nice to be clearly up a little bit higher, away from just that stifling, crushing humidity. Severin, you'd estimate you and your companions past the Star Fountain, maybe 15 minutes walk away, kind of maybe about halfway between you and the building that you went to with the Joyful Butchers. Tell me any plans as it passes 7.
Does the route go through any gates?
No, none.
Right. Just casually over dinner, Severin will say, "Oh, the how many lovely fountain in town? Is that the only one of its kind in town?"
There are other fountains.
Oh, is that the Star Fountain?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, there's a shop near there. I've been told I might want to poke in on, so that's good.
Oh, good.
Anyway, carry on talking about something else.
Okay.
And then, get ready to sort of head out at 22 or whatever.
Okay, so preparations for those that are leaving, and then tell me. So can I go through each character? Just zip through each character really fast and tell me your plans for the evening, please. Start off with Yotto.
Retire upstairs, later, meditate, sleep.
Don't call it out. Just rattle through them, please, guys.
Nicholas will cast invisibility as required, and then we'll perhaps have a little chat downstairs, see if it's appropriate. Sort of awkward conversation. Oh no, he's actually okay. Okay, social, small talk maker. And then he'll be upstairs, do a little bit of studying in bed. Yeah.
Okay. You do get the impression that while Maisie is friendly, she actually doesn't want to be friends.
Cool. Yeah. Then he won't impose himself.
So she's very nice, very kind. She doesn't know anything about you. She doesn't really want to chat to you. Definitely get that impression. Very, very nice. Very, very pleasant. Nothing unpleasant, but yeah. Closes down anything to do with about herself or her husband or whatever. Cool. Keep going through them, guys. Pete,
Askel,
sorry, Askel, go for it. Go.
Oh yeah, so Askel would obviously want to have a chat with Severin and Tanya, just come up with their sort of agreed plan. So if we're obviously before we go on invisible and just sort of agree on how we're going to do things. Obviously, maybe it's Askel go to the left of the street and Tanya can take the right hand side, and then just talk about if you get bumped or something and lose invisibility, what's sort of actions on, like just look, and then just here is casual, like I was always there, sort of thing. Just sort of agreement. And maybe if something does happen to Severin as well, if he's, what do we want to do? Sort of discuss that.
Well, I think Severin would quite like Tenya to take his sword in case he needs it. He doesn't want to get stopped by the guards again, but I think if she could carry it, that would be a help. He doesn't plan on using it, but or should he just take it?
He might get asked again about a permit. That's all.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll get Tanya to take it. I suggest that moving down either side of the street is a good idea. Severin will move at a speed, and he'll be advised on that enables the two of you to stalk. So they'll leave a bit earlier, and that's fine. He's happy to just wander so the other two can keep up. And it's quite possible, obviously, they'll move on from somewhere probably after the fountain. She's likely to be led somewhere. Suggests that maybe they follow to whatever building, but maybe stay outside unless there's signs of trouble.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Yep.
Unless we've, well, up to you. But I'm not quite sure where we're going.
Yeah. Eskel would probably still go unarmed just in case, because he's got less of a stalky skill, so he's just a bit worried about if he gets bumped, becomes invisible, he's standing around with a weapon. So he's got some hand-to-hand skills.
Are you sure? Because you'll be invisible. I mean, your chances of bumping are slim. There won't be many people around, I don't think.
Probably more if he's a bit klutzy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So he's got hand-to-hand skills, defensive skills that he's all right at. So fairly confident in that respect. How's that?
Okay. Any weapons on Askel at all? Any weapons on Severin at all? And what's Tanya taking?
Severin will have his dagger. And Tanya will take his sword. Tanya will have her bow and her short sword and Severin's sword.
Eskel will leave the cutlass behind. I'm not quite sure if he does have a dagger or not. But otherwise that's his only weapon.
Okay.
Because he's left his backpack behind, which has Jadar's mace or whatever it was.
Okay. Great. Anything for those that are remaining behind that I need to know about?
Sorry, Chris. So there was one other thing.
Yep.
He will put on his mask of enhancement, set to perception.
Okay. He needs to roll. No, he doesn't need to roll for that. Does he need to? I can't remember what we agreed on that.
I think you put it on half an hour before.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And then you can use it for an hour.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Okay. Cool. Yep. Thank you. Someone else was going to say something too.
Oh, I'll offer to everyone if they want to use anything of mine, my bell or something. And Jade is really uncomfortable in this town because of the way they were spitting and stuff, and not, it reminded her of her childhood. So she's going to go into a dark corner of the room with a candle, and just do some shadow puppets and create a little story with the shadow puppets about what she'd like to do to those people.
Excellent.
If she was braver.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you. Shadow puppet dismemberment. Very good. Nicholas, you had a couple of invisibility spells to cast. You prep for the acquired 4 rounds. They only fail on a 1 or a 2. Give me 2 rolls, please.
54.
Sorry, what was the roll?
54
Success.
and 97.
Nice. And again. 2 successful rolls. Both Tanya and Askell are now invisible. Right. See-ho. I don't want to keep people waiting too long, but let's go like this. Depends what you guys do. I think
Happy to tell everyone what we do. I mean, you know.
yeah, sure. Yeah, no, got it. But yep. So okay. So yeah. Okay, I just have thinking it through my head. Okay, cool. So we'll play it for everybody listening in currently, and then I'll split it into three groups. It'll be yeah. We'll see how we go, but we'll start off all together. So at around half 7. You set off. You've made the plans accordingly. One person on the left, one person on the right, and you set off following Severin down the street. It's definitely quieter, and there are definitely less people. The blacksmith has stopped his dinging. The person chopping has stopped their chopping, but there are still a dog barking occasionally, and there's still a small crowd, and there's still a church bell. Yep, cool. There are a few people out, but it's definitely quieter. I'd like Askell and Tanya, please, to both make a light maneuver. This is an all or nothing, basically just based on your agility, just ducking out of the way.
35.
35 plus what's her agility?
35.
Plus 35. Cool. So Tanya has a 90% chance of not having any issue. She won't necessarily become invisible if she does have an issue. We'll have to roll again, but give me a roll. 90 and under, and she's fine.
12.
12. She's good. And Askell? Hello, Askell?
He might be on a work call.
Yeah, he's on a work.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll for him?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Was it the 100? Here we go. He got 76.
76, I think, even with a tolerable... 76 is 100%, so that's a light maneuver for Askell. So both Askell and Tanya managed to slip down the relatively quiet streets initially, absolutely no problem at all. You turn a few corners, you make your way down. You do head into a busier area, but you still manage, both Askell and Tanya manage to keep to one side. And Severin, you go up and position yourself by the Star Fountain, sitting to one side, but still reasonably obvious.
Can both he and, well, certainly Tanya do perception rolls. Tanya is particularly interested to see if anybody has been following Severin.
Sure. Yep. So give me a mast roll, please, which is just coming. Just give me 1 second to key it up. Yep. Give me a roll.
Tanya rolled 43.
Yep.
Her perception is plus 81.
Okay. She doesn't think they've been followed. And Severin?
He rolls a 50. However, with that mask, he gets a plus 25. And then his perception is 72.
Like Tanya, no. Definitely a bit of an atmosphere out and about tonight. That niggle, maybe it was with the kids earlier on. Yeah, you've definitely seen a little bit of aggro around. A couple of people, a couple of the locals have you've heard a couple of raised voices, not directly in your area, but there's a vibe out tonight, definitely. But you don't get a sense of being followed, not at all.
He'll avoid eye contact, but obviously glancing around, keeping an eye on things, just checking for anybody else, observing the scene.
Yep.
As would Tanya.
Okay. It's a little bit later, a little bit past 8 bell sounds, and Severin's kind of waiting. Is something going to happen? Gets to around, say, 10 or quarter past, and a familiar shuffle appears with a figure. It's definitely Elk Bloodlander. She makes her way in Severin's general area, but stops and puts her right foot up on the lip of the fountain that Severin's sitting next to, probably about 6 or 7 foot away from Severin, so not next to Severin. And she just quietly looks around. She's kind of adjusting her making a show of adjusting her clothes, etc. Glances around, see there's no one around, and just very quietly just says, "Keep your distance, follow me." And without saying anything more to Severin, she sets off. Again, slightly faster than she was walking previously. You walk along together with Tanya and Askell, obviously not hearing the comment from her, but seeing her. She's covered, by the way, even though it's still quite warm, she's covered in a light cloak and a hood covering her head. She heads through the town, one of our term, town square, past the entrance to the gardens, which lead up to the castle, and along what you've made out to be kind of like the main street. And at this point, I would like... it is definitely a bit busier here. There are a few people of the night about. There are a few people out in the street drinking, a little bit more noisy. And definitely for Tanya and Askell, it's a little bit more challenging to both keep up with Severin and the figure that he's following in front of her, but also weaving in and out of the crowd. It's not densely packed, it's not impossible, but it's a little bit harder. I'd like, again, a medium maneuver from you both to just avoid bumping into people, please. If you fail this, you don't necessarily fail. Give me a roll, please.
17.
17.
Plus 35.
Cool. That's a... Yeah, that's not great. So she comes up to a group of people. One of them does something unexpected. You expected them to kind of go that way. One of them suddenly turns around and says, "Oh, wait a minute," and kind of nearly barges into Tanya. You've got a 30% chance of avoiding. 30 or under. Give me a roll, please.
95.
95. Okay. It's frustrating. There it is. Cool. So it's not necessarily the end. It was a medium maneuver, so I want to see what happens next. So there's a negative 10 to this roll. That's a good thing for you. Give me one more roll and actually see if it's basically one more roll, 2 more rolls to see if you become invisible. Give me a roll.
57.
57. 47.
57. It's 57.
No, yeah, got it. 57 minus 10 is 47.
Oh, yeah.
So as the person kind of comes towards you, Tanya, you stumble, you slip, you kind of dodge out of the way, and your feet go from under you. There's a 45 chance of you whacking into a wall or cracking yourself. If you roll above 45, you're fine.
And that 57 obviously included my bonus, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 68.
68, you're fine. So at the last second, the person kind of swerved, kind of came straight into your path. You trying to duck, your foot went from underneath you, you stumbled, you nearly fell down. You managed to recover. You've got -30 for any maneuvers for another 2 rounds, but you're safe, at least for now. Askell. Is Askell back with us? Can someone give me a roll for Askell, please? A medium maneuver.
Yeah, I can do that. 55.
55, and his bonus is... Playing characters... Askell, there we go. Agility +8. Okay, 63. 40% chance. 40 and under, and you're fine, Askell. What was the roll?
41.
41.
Wow.
Again, the same again, please. Give me a roll to see what actually happens.
96.
Oh, you really wanted a low roll there. Only 6, -10. So, Askell, slightly similar to you, except it's a dog that runs out in front of you. And just pure dumb luck, you slip. You fall down with a roll of a 96. Crunch, you take 3 hits and -20 for the next any activity for the next 3 rounds. You've just taken 3 hits, Askell. And to see if you'll notice, there is a 65% chance, 65 or under, that you noticed. Amazingly, miraculously, I just rolled a 95. Amazingly, no one saw you, no one appears to have seen you actually fall and become visible, but you are now visible, Askell. You've taken 3 hits and you're at -20. Tanya, you are aware of this. Severin, you're not. Do we have a consensus about what Askell would do? And what would Tanya do?
Well, if Tanya's close enough to speak to him without anybody else hearing, then she'd say, I just keep going. You're unarmed. You're fine.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, let's say that happens. And you, the 3 of you, with Severin on in front, being led by a figure in front of him, and then, I don't know, 30, 40 foot behind the other 2. The crowds definitely thin out once you pass that town square, and I would like one last and final maneuver from both Askell, well, no, just from Tanya, please.
32.
Hang a sec. Hang on. It's an easy maneuver this time. 32. Okay, 70 plus...
35.
Thank you. Okay. Easy maneuver, successfully done. So she manages to duck out of the way. You come into... so first, Severin, following the figure out in front. And then yourself. You come into a shaded, quiet courtyard. And there is a tavern that the figure in front of you heads straight towards. You can see the name of the tavern, by the way. There's a sign hanging outside. It's quite a old battered sign. It just simply says the Wyvern's Rest. There's some outdoor seating as well. By the way, this is what the interior looks like. As both Elk and yourself head inside, Seven. This is what it looks like coming up right about now. She goes in, gets herself a drink, and also encourages you to get one, and goes and sits in the most quietest, discreetest corner in the entire tavern. At the back, far out of view, in a corner, in a very darkened corner. There's no one else around you. Tanya and Askell, you've seen them go in. You've seen the interior of the tavern. What are you planning on doing, please? Askell,
Well,
you're now visible.
I think Tanya, given he's visible, Tanya would suggest, look, if it's a pub, why don't you go in for a drink and have a drink at the bar? And I'll stay out here and keep an eye on things out here in the shallows.
Okay.
And I'll see if Askell agrees with that.
Oh, Askell loves drinking beer.
Okay.
He's already at the bar.
You head on in. Askell grabs a seat. Damn it! I must check where my mouse has gone. Grabs a seat at the bar, orders an ale, and just discreetly kind of keeps glancing over in the direction that Severin and Elk have gone. It's a very, very quiet square that you're in. There's kind of one entrance in and out. It's quite leafy and green, Tanya, which you're delighted about because it means there's lots and lots of heavy shadow. Perfect for skulking in. I'm not going to ask for a hiding roll, at least not yet. But you find yourself a secluded place that you can watch the door with ease. Askell's at the bar. And at this moment, I am going to ask Severin to pop out and have a chat with his mum.
Alrighty. Just to say, Tanya will have her bow out.
Out and strung?
Yeah. Strung, certainly, yeah. And we'll just... But sit tight, but it's there if she needs it.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Cool. Join you in chat room 1. And you can fill in, Askell, what happened for those that are left behind. Hello.
Hello. Actually, it's 5 to 10. I don't know. Do you want to keep doing this now, or what do you think?
Can we... yeah, I know you might be getting weary. Play for another 5? See where we go?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I don't know how long it'll take. I just wonder about everyone else. That was all. But
that's all right. Swings and roundabouts.
right.
So Elk sits down opposite you. She's got a drink in front of you. She pulls her hood back enough so that she can see you a little bit better, and you can see her. But she certainly keeps her hood up and her head down. She's clearly not wanting to be seen. She doesn't say anything initially.
Well, Severin will say it's wonderful to see you, Mother.
There's a pause. Is that really true?
Yes, it is. Of course it's true. It's always wonderful to see you. Always has been, always will be. How fare you? There you're obviously fearing that we may be seen. We left you in dire circumstances before, and obviously, things weren't going your way. Have things improved for you or worsened?
I don't want to talk right now. Tell me about you, son. Last I saw of you, you were heading back to Jebai Rima, I think. How was your time in that city?
A lot of water has gone under the bridge. We have been very active. I spoke of you of tasks that we had to complete, and a lot has happened. And we are embroiled in something big, as big as you can imagine. And there's a lot riding on it. So there's a lot of danger ahead of us. But yes, just luck would have it, we find you here. I'm so glad our paths have crossed. A lot lies ahead of us. I'm not sure I'll come back from it. So it is good to see you.
What do you mean that you won't come back from it?
There are tasks ahead of us that only a fool would hope to complete. I'm determined to see them through. But the odds. Well, we play the odds every day.
So tell me your story, she says. Do you want to paraphrase or do you want to sum up, perhaps, rather?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I won't tell her. I say it concerns the neighbour to this kingdom. It concerns weapons that they may be able to harness against everybody else, essentially, and everything that we hold dear. And we're going to stop them.
Good for you. Good for you, son. She turns and looks at you and looks you full in the face. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Severin.
It glads my heart to hear that. I think he will mention, our mission at the moment is to locate a ruin, and he'll mention it. Do you know of such a place?
I don't. No, I don't. We go out on patrols. Sometimes larger than patrols. I'm off soon myself. But it's the Mara scouts that we rely on. Sometimes their very lives. It's pretty rugged, wild country out there in the borderlands, in between lands. I don't know of a ruin. There's really only Mara huts out there, but maybe there is something. I don't know.
What do we have to look out for out there? Creatures?
Yes, there are troll wars. There are some of those horrendous killer birds. They go by different names.
I've met them.
There are wild orcs in places, more to the north, up near the mountains. And again, more to the north, there are trolls, but there are a few scattered trolls in some of the hills. But it's the Maras you need to be careful of. They're treacherous, and they know this land like the back of their hand. They have no love of people like me or you. Some tribes will give you lip service for friendship and honor. Some will fight you straight up. Some will just simply throw poison darts at you and run. It's the Mara you need to be most concerned about. Don't trust them, Severin. Don't trust any of them.
No. Does the poison have antidotes?
Depends what they use. Some they use paralysis poison. Others does terrible thing to your skin. We've never found a good antidote for any of them.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we'll probably be requiring guides ourselves. Let's hope they know the paths well.
And
you'll be welcome to come with us.
Thank you, but I have an urgent and critical task myself. And she looks down at a drink at that.
So you still work for the butchers, yes?
Work for them? And there's almost a hint of anger. Work for them. They're my butchers, Severin. They're mine. And then she kind of catches herself. Yes, Severin. When I last saw you, it was, goodness, 5 months ago. You'll remember that I was in disgrace. I had been humiliated for the attack on Waywell beneath the wall. There was meant to be a glorious battle at a village. I can't even remember the name of the godforsaken place. And we were meant to win. We were meant to win, Severin. but we were betrayed. More to the point, I was betrayed. I was framed by that bastard Morlock. You remember Morlock. You met him. Him along with the rest of my captains. Severin, in the dim recesses of your mind, you do actually remember. 5 months ago, just after you met your mother, in a hot, sweaty tent in Waywell beneath the wall, you remember meeting your mother's captains, and there was a strange kind of test that they put you through. There was a dwarf, you recall, and a number of people in armor, which was unusual because this was some kind of social gathering. She continues, Morlock, he set me up. I've learnt followingly. He didn't support me with the troops I needed when I critically needed them. And that was it. We were routed, Severin. I've only found it out, and I've only found out about it later on, and I can't prove it. But Morlock has been consolidating his power, little bit by little bit. He has taken over the butchers, my butchers. This was my, and again, she almost shouts when she kind of catches herself and lowers her voice again. My butchers, Severin. She killed my noble dwarven ally, Corin Nanadam. Some say he fell down the stairs very drunk. I don't believe a word of it. I'm sure Morlock was behind it. Morlock has exiled my friend Lord Vesta. And slowly but surely, over the last few months, he has stripped me from power. He has humiliated me. He has lowered me. He has pulled me down from my position, from the very mercenary company that I built, Severin. The very company I built with these hands and this sword arm, she says. He has destroyed my company. And I fear he wants to destroy me too. I know he's coming for me next. He is ruthless and he is evil, son. And how dare they take the butchers from me? How dare he? The butchers are mine. I built them.
What do you plan to do?
So once she kind of calms herself, once my scouts get back, I'll be leading 500 men. That's all they'll allow me. 500. Severin, I used to have 10,000 spears at my disposal. Leading 500 men, along with Camelard, who was one of my allies, at least once, and who I hope to sway behind me. We're heading for a Turang outpost at the end of the Farn Hills, and my plan is to utterly destroy it, and with that action, and in front of Camelard, prove that I am the person to lead the butchers, and I must do it, and I must do it alone. And I will do it, Severin. I've been out there, I've had my scouts. I mean, they're checking something down to the south, currently, on other business apparently, but they have checked out this outpost, they know it well. And with this success, with winning over Camelard, who will be a vital ally, that I see is the turning point in allowing me to claim back what is rightfully mine. That is, if I know I can, and at this she looks up and she looks directly into Severin's face. That is, if I know I can return to Ras Garret, and if, well, Murloc wasn't here anymore. I know then that Camelard would support me, and he would help me. He would, with Murloc no longer being here, with Murloc gone, he would support me. He would push me. He would raise up his voice, and I will lead the butchers again. I know it.
Well,
But this is dependent on Murloc not being in Ras Garret when I return Severin,
and
my
how do you
son.
plan? And how do you plan to arrange that?
I didn't know exactly, and you can kind of hear her voice breaking a little bit, and you can see a tear forming in her eye. I didn't know if it was time for me to be able to really prove myself. Rather, my plan was going to be more win this battle, have this victory, and then slowly after another. But then suddenly I saw you today. And perhaps you can help me, my son.
How?
By making Morlock not here when I return.
You have a plan?
Not yet.
So I'd be right in thinking that Murloc commands how many men?
10,000.
That's a lot of men to get through.
I'll be gone at least for a month and a half. I think that campaign will take that long. At least minimum of 3 weeks, perhaps more. I leave in 2 days. Will you help me?
If I can, of course. Although there is an alternative.
What is the alternative?
The alternative is to let it go and actually join me in... How do I impress on you? There is no more important mission than the one that I am on. I cannot conceive of one. And another blade would, particularly your blade, Mother, would... Well, could make the difference. And you could leave this... What is obviously a situation that has not made you happier in yourself. Why not take on a new challenge? A challenge that is, frankly, there could be no greater challenge. And fight alongside me. Live or die with me. It's a fool's errand, but we need the world's best, and you, Mother, are truly one of the best.
She turns and looks at you. Something goes across her eyes. Her eyes widen at your suggestion. She opens her mouth. And that is where we're going to leave it for tonight.
Okay, dog.
Jump back into chat room 1.
Alright, see you in a minute.
See you.
And they're not here for it.
I think I'm very happy just seeing patients, to be perfectly honest.
Alright, guys. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Camera. Action.
Camera. Yes, camera. Action. There we go. Turn on camera. We're gonna. It's 10 past 10, and I'm conscious that I've left you guys chatting, and I really do want to include lots of people. So I'm gonna say we're gonna end it there for tonight. Yeah. I'm gonna switch on the credits. Any comments you want to make, Severin? You can't really because you're not there, but I don't know if you did want to make a comment or an observation report.
Well, I might have... Yeah. I might have made an invitation without consulting the rest of you, but I didn't think you'd be upset if it happened. Put it that way. But I don't know if it probably won't happen.
We trust you. Do we get to kill things?
Yeah. That was just, I want to bring the mum.
Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah.
Well, she used to be pretty handy. Whether she'd want to go along with it, I don't know. But or whether she's still handy, I don't know. But why the hell not?
Just come with Uncle Rupert and cousin Seth.
Yeah, afraid so.
Mhm.